If you continue suppressing your creative potential, you're going to destroy yourself psychologically and spiritually. You're going to end up a desperate and resentful person who is in constant psychological and spiritual agony. Listen to this. One of the most wicked, destructive forces, psychologically speaking, is unused creative power. If someone has a creative gift and out of laziness or some other reason doesn't use it, the psychic energy turns into sheer poison. That's why we often diagnose neurosis and psychotic diseases as not lived higher possibilities. Marie-Louise von Franz, one of the greatest Jungian analysts and one of Carl Jung's closest collaborators. Once again, not lived higher possibilities. That's what neurosis and psychotic diseases often are. And I want to give you two concrete, straightforward, constructive paths out of this misery. Because you are watching this as someone who recognizes themselves as a person with potential, or maybe precisely creative potential, that they're not using enough, that they're not expressing enough. And we will also address those who are watching this but don't consider themselves creative people. They just think that there is some potential in them that they have not even discovered, therefore they're definitely not expressing it. Okay, one example, one story related to this. A year ago, 29th of December 2024, so a little over a year ago, I posted my annual post celebrating the anniversary of me starting to write. So December 29, 2024, it was 5 years of me consistently writing and sharing my writing online. As part of that post, I shared how in that time or during that time I have been struggling with mental health issues. That's how we call them nowadays. I could now, in the context of Jungian psychology, existential psychology, humanistic psychology, call that something different. But mental health problems, and I have been dealing with suicidal thoughts during that period of time. Pretty intense. I can say that for a period of time they were, constant on an hourly basis, questioning whether I want to continue living my life, whether it's worth continuing to live my life. And yeah, I think maybe some people watching this are familiar with those types of thoughts. Then a person who read that post, who read how I have been struggling with suicidal thoughts, how I have come out on the other side with renewed and infinitely greater love and passion for life, that I can now, even today as I'm recording this, say that love and passion is sustained each morning. One person asked, okay, in this journey, did you actually write even at the lowest point? Even when you felt lowest psychologically and spiritually, did you still continue writing? Because the actual point, or let's say the occasion which inspired the post, was 5-year anniversary of consistent daily writing and expressing or sharing my writing. The spiritual, psychological side, the mental health struggles, the suicidal thoughts and struggle with suicidal thoughts, that was thrown in there somewhat unexpectedly. So the person asked, did you actually continue writing throughout those most difficult moments, most difficult psychologically and spiritually speaking? And with no offense to that person, I just thought, okay, this person doesn't get it. You know why? Because not a question whether you continue expressing yourself at your lowest points. That's when it's most important. Not most important, that's when it's absolutely necessary. I wouldn't be alive today. I wouldn't be alive today if I didn't write every single day during those lowest days. And that's as related as it gets to this. That's basically the explanation. Okay, I have to watch so that this doesn't fall. The point being, expression of whatever is in you is one of the most vitalizing, soul-nourishing, healing things that you can do for yourself. And I cannot stress that enough. And the opposite is true. Not expressing yourself is one of the most poisonous, destructive things that you can do for your psyche or your soul, for your heart, for your life, for who you are as a human being. One of the most destructive, poisonous, most unjust things that you can do for yourself or to yourself. That's why when I was struggling for months on an hourly basis with the thoughts of me maybe not wanting to continue living, expressing myself was what brought some level of meaning, joy, and purpose into each day. And I can say that's one of the main things that kept me alive, apart from other things involving, I also have to say, having people in my life that I loved and that I knew love and care about me. But that's now, as beautiful as it is beside the point of this specific video. Your expression matters not just for its utility, not just for what it can bring in terms of recognition and acknowledgement, not just in terms of you having a physical proof of your creative potential. It matters for your soul, it matters for your psyche. I'm now locating the psyche here, maybe that's a mistake. Okay, you try it. When you speak of the psyche, where do you want to locate it? I now locate it here. Maybe tomorrow or yesterday I would locate it here. Maybe I would locate it in my belly. Fire in the belly, for anyone who gets the reference. So, 2 paths out of the misery of not expressing yourself. First one is what I'm saying right now. To recognize that it's not about you writing today for the sake of writing and for the sake of writing something smart and for the sake of maybe publishing it and getting some likes and shares or getting acknowledgement from people that you really care about and whose opinion you respect. So we are not now even trying to classify what are superficial goals in terms of acknowledgement, what are meaningful goals in terms of acknowledgement. We are trying to say all of those goals and expectations are on one side. That is, what is this moment of expression, whether it's writing, recording a video, writing a poem, painting, drawing, whatever the mode of expression is, on one side we put all goals related to how it's going to manifest itself in the external world. And on the other side is the expectation or the goal of how it's going to manifest itself inside. That is your relationship with yourself, your relationship with your soul, with your psyche. Let me locate it here now. So, the first path out of this is that when you look at your calendar, let's imagine that there is a calendar now here. You don't have a writing block. You have a soul nourishment block. You have attending to your psychological and spiritual well-being block. You have nurturing your potential and expressing your potential so that you don't go mad block. You have expressing yourself so that you don't fall into despair and start hating life block. Okay? So you don't have a painting block, drawing block, writing block. You have let me do this so that I continue loving life or that I start loving life for the first time ever block. That's what you have going on. That's what you have in your calendar. That's what you need to do today. Okay? That's one path out of it. To realize, to recognize, we are not talking about productivity here. We are not talking about accomplishment. We are not talking about real world success. We are talking about the biggest form of success there exists, and that is loving life. Okay. Now, the second path is for those who say, I don't know what my creative gift is. I don't have creative gifts. I don't know what my potential is. I don't know how I want to express myself. And the first thing that I would say before we embark on that second path, the first thing I would say is no. Don't give me that excuse because you know. You know what I think is going on. I think you want to play the guitar or to write a song, but you think or you know or you expect that you will not become a musician that sells out stadiums. So you say, I don't know what my creative potential is. No. Listen, this is not about selling out tickets. This is not about how many books you're going to sell. This is about letting out something that is inside of you, asking to be expressed. So don't tell me that you don't know what your creative potential is or how you want to express yourself based on you expecting that you're not good enough and that you will never be good enough. Okay? So for a lot of you that wanted to hear about the second path, actually go back to the first path. You know, it's irrelevant whether you will end up a New York Times bestseller. It's irrelevant whether you will sell out stadiums. It's irrelevant whether your painting will be sold for millions of dollars. That's irrelevant. You know that you wanted to do something, you know that you wanted to draw something, you know that you wanted to write something, you know that you wanted to sing something. So do it, do it, do it. Okay. The second path for people who say, listen, I have zero idea of how I could ever express myself. I'm watching this video because I somehow stumbled upon it, or I've been watching your videos, David, for a while, so I'm just watching this video as well. I'm hoping there is something in me that wants to be expressed, but I have literally zero idea how to express myself. Okay, for you, the second path is relevant. Start implementing play and exploration in your days. Okay? Today, take 10 minutes to draw something, or buy a coloring book. Go, don't be ashamed. Now there are even coloring books for adults. Go buy a coloring book. Do color 1, 2, 3 pages, however much time you have. Maybe play some relaxing music during that. Don't play a podcast, don't play an audiobook, play some music. Okay, tomorrow, play a song and dance in your room. Yeah, dance. The third day, sing along to a song or multiple songs that you like. On the fourth or fifth day, I lost count, write down something. Not because you like writing, not because you think you have something smart to say, or important or impactful. Write down something so that you express some of your thoughts in words. Okay? Play around. Go actually play. Sign up for a dance class, or just go to a party. Now, I don't want to advise drinking. I wanted to say, maybe take 1 drink or 2 drinks if you're really struggling with expressing yourself through movement in a social setting. Sometimes alcohol is, as they say, a good social lubricant. But I'm, for YouTube, if they're scanning my video with some AI, and not using real humans, of course, because they don't want to pay it, or for anyone else who is maybe tempted to criticize what I'm saying, I'm not saying that anyone has to drink alcohol to dance. Okay, you are all adults here. In any case, involve play, exploration, expression, experimentation in your days. And you say, okay, David, this is too much. Every single day something new. Okay, 1 day out of the week, can you do it? Can you schedule a creative date with yourself one day this week? Can you schedule an expression date with yourself 1 day of this week? Can you, in a couple of weeks, increase it to 3 dates per week? That date can be 20 minutes, it can be 5 minutes, it can be 10 minutes, it can be 1 hour. Involve, incorporate, schedule, play, exploration, experimentation, and therefore expression in your days or weeks. But don't wait to somehow, someday, spontaneously figure out how you could express yourself. Okay, I know you can do this. Once again, if you don't do this, this is who you end up being. And you see, I gave myself freedom here to try not writing, of course not writing, because I do a lot of that, to try drawing something. I wanted to represent a person that is desperate and resentful, and you see this agony in their eyes. I try to represent that, but has their mouth shut. They cannot even, they cannot even speak up. They cannot let out a scream. But they have done this to themselves. They have shut their own mouth. Something that I just wanted to express. I was trying, or I was thinking, how can I express what this leads to with my limited drawing skills? And here it is. And here I'm trying to express that potential, if unused, is a great weight pulling you down, keeping you stuck, creating lethargy, reducing or removing momentum from your life. That's what I try to do. So I'm hoping you get the message, you get how important this is. This is a matter of you loving life or you hating life. Once again, if you don't use your creative potential, and all of you have some creative potential, some latent creative potential asking to be explored or to be expressed, if you don't use it, it turns into sheer poison. Once again, also unused or unlived higher possibilities. I've talked about this in so many of my videos. Rollo May said that neurosis is a result of unused capacities. Abraham Maslow said that you will be miserable if you don't explore and actualize your potential. That leads to neurosis. Neurosis as a failure of personal growth. Otto Rank said neurosis as a failure of creativity. You have so many of the greatest thinkers that ever lived saying that if you suppress that what is in you and asking to be explored and expressed, if you suppress it, if you ignore it, you will suffer immensely. So please, friend, don't suffer. Please don't suffer. Express yourself. Stay strong. Never feel sorry for yourself. Love life. Light a fire in your heart. Be grateful and go beyond. Thank you.